여러분, 우리 지구를 RI를 대표하여 방문해 주신 마이클 맥거번 RI 회장 대리를 큰 박수로 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다.
Please welcome RI President Representative Michael McGovern.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction, and it is wonderful to be here in Seoul for your district conference. I congratulate Governor Chang-woo on his courage to continue planning for this event in a time of much uncertainty and worries about the COVID virus. He has been wonderful as he has informed me of plans for this conference, and I especially appreciate the hospitality that he has provided, along with his wife Sylvia and your governor-elect Bong Rok and his wife Young Kong, and also District Governor nominee Sang Dong Chin. It's a special honor to be able to represent my good friend Shekhar Mehta, the president of Rotary International from Calcutta, India, and his wife Rashi. I first met Shekhar Mehta and his wife Rashi when we were both incoming district governors together in 1999 at the International Assembly in Anaheim, California, Disneyland. Shekhar is one of those individuals who, when you first meet him, you never forget him. He was particularly notable in 1999, as every time I saw Shekhar, he was carrying a couple of tote bags. One of the bags had small gifts, and frankly, I don't recall what was in those gifts, in those bags. But the other bag, it was filled with large envelopes, and each envelope contained a proposal for a matching grant or another project that the other governors could work on with their clubs to assist in Shekhar's district in Kolkata. He would often stand by the elevators, the lifts, where everyone would be waiting so that he would have time to briefly explain a grant or two. As we were on the same floor, late in our week together, it sort of became a point of humor between us whether or not he would advocate for another grant. This showed the devotion that he had to helping people of his district, particularly children, but was also indicative of one of Rotary's central principles. Shekhar was clear that he wanted us to do something, but he was also clear that it was our choice on whether or not to participate, and it was our choice on whether or not to carry a project forward. Rotary is truly about choice. We decide whether we choose to become Rotarians. We decide the individual club that we wish to belong to, or they choose us. The club chooses within that club the projects they wish to undertake. Individually, we choose the degree of engagement that we have within the club and whether we give to entities such as the Rotary Foundation. You know, it all reminds me of going into a restaurant and looking at a menu, or perhaps going to a Papa John's pizza and looking at the menu up on the wall. It would be awfully boring if there was only one thing to choose from. And if we chose everything on the menu, it would not be good. Not many restaurants stay in business for 100 years. Those that do stay open over many years, and think about Rotary, add to the original menu. They retire menu choices that seem outdated. They make going to the restaurant an enjoyable experience, and they recruit new customers as old customers age and no longer come to the restaurant. They use technology to enhance the experience with menus available in mobile apps and online, and with loyalty incentives such as free coffee after buying 10 cups of coffee. They make customers feel appreciated. These restaurants change in order to continue to serve. Imagine that. The point is that Rotarians and Rotary clubs are like restaurant customers. They want choices. They also do not necessarily want the same things that they wanted 10 years ago. They want to look at their phones and see who will be speaking at the club this month and what service opportunities are available to them. They do not want to be forced to participate in all activities, but they wish to participate in those activities that are meaningful to them. They also wish to meet new people and to hear of emerging trends. More than ever, Rotary is about service, being with friends, and being with friends to accomplish relevant service. The object of Rotary calls it acquaintance as an opportunity for service. President Shekhar speaks of it as serving to change lives. The successful Rotary Club is one that serves to change lives. It undertakes projects and programs that change the lives of those we seek to benefit, and at the same time, changes our own lives. The old Rotary motto of one who serves best almost profits, there's slightly different translations of that, that remains true today. District 3650 has provided much leadership to Rotary International. One of the first Korean Rotarians I had the honor to meet was In Sang Song. He was one of the most respected individuals in Rotary worldwide. It was an honor for me to serve on the International Board of Directors as Vice President when D.K. Lee was President-elect, and when he served as the Vice Chair and I served as the Vice Chair of the Rotary Foundation when D.K. Lee was the chair. I can recall, and I mentioned this to D.K. last night, after D.K. Lee completed his terms, I mentioned to Wilf Wilkinson, who was the president before D.K., how fortunate Wilf was that such a great man succeeded him and did such a great job. President Wilf quickly agreed with all of that. We're also fortunate to have DK's wife, Youngja, serving with DK in so many ways over the years. I served with Do Bae, who also provided clear views on the issues of the day. While he's not from this district, I also see here past director Kwang Tae Kim, very, very good friend. Luke, I call him. Wonderful to see him again, and to meet past director Che today. And today, of course, we have Sang Koo Yoon serving as the vice chair of the Rotary Foundation. And everyone sees in Sang Koo a great Rotary leader at this time and for the future. So President Shekhar has asked me for talk about many things, but one of them is to encourage you to attend the International Convention in Houston, Texas. I know it's a little late for that, it's a month away, and many of you probably attended the wonderful convention in Seoul 6 years ago. Next year, we'll be very fortunate to be able to attend the International Convention in Melbourne, Australia. If you do not get to Houston, I hope you can get to Melbourne, and I hope to see you there. A great opportunity aspect of Rotary International Conventions is that it is an opportunity to learn more about our Rotary Foundation. The first time I went to a Rotary convention was in Taipei, Taiwan in 1994, and I saw highlighted many of the projects and programs that Rotarians had developed to serve people in the world. It was uplifting to see the excitement as more countries were beginning to see, for example, the end of polio as a result of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. I saw Rotary's extensive involvement in water projects, such as you were doing in Pakistan, and in providing health clinics and helping to furnish libraries and schools. Most of all, I saw the opportunities through Rotary to quote the theme the year that D.K. Lee was president of Rotary International, to make dreams real. That is what we do. The Rotary Foundation continues to be one of the best charities in the world. Charity Navigator, the organization that most prominently analyzes not-for-profit charities, gives the Rotary Foundation a perfect 100 score, perfect. Very little money is spent on administration, and fundraising, when compared to the amount that is spent on programs, is very small. Everything is transparent, and there is no personal profit that anyone gains. What makes the Rotary Foundation, though, so unique is that nearly all of the projects are developed at the local, club, and district level. And they're also administered locally. It reassures me when I give money to the Rotary Foundation that I know local Rotarians, such as you, are developing and overseeing the projects and programs, and that you're taking sustainable actions to do good in the world. The second time I attended a Rotary meeting of my own club, a young Rotarian named David Smith asked me to come early so that he could tell me some things about Rotary. That was in 1986, a long time ago. And what he told me was that Rotary had decided that it could eradicate polio throughout the world. He said it was going to take a lot of money, and our Rotary Club felt it important that we meet our goal, and he wanted $1,000 for me over 3 years. That was a lot of money back then. My first thought was, what have I gotten into by joining Rotary? But I thought about it and decided that polio is really bad. It cripples young children, and it creates fear among families who do not have polio within them that perhaps their children may get polio. So I began to write checks every few months, and I met the amount that was requested. And I haven't regretted not one penny, $1, not any amount that I have provided to the Rotary Foundation or to polio eradication. Rotarians here in Korea and in your district have continued to give generously to polio eradication, and your donations have had results. Today, there are 20 million people walking on Earth who would have been crippled with polio or would have died if it was not for our contributions in the work of our partners in the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. At the time Rotary began eradicating polio, there were 125 countries where 350,000 children a year were coming down with polio. Last year, 2021, we had only 6 cases of wild polio virus in only 3 countries: Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Malawi. And so far here in 2022, we have had officially only a single case in Afghanistan. It is especially good to note that it has been over a year officially of no polio cases in Pakistan. And our environmental samples are showing no polio viruses in the water sampling that we do. And I do note, as DK mentioned, we did get a report last night of a new case. It has not been easy, as Rotary deals in some of the most difficult areas in the world, providing vaccines in the middle of conflicts and in the harshest winter weather and summer weather conditions. We deal with people who don't believe in vaccines, and sadly, we see their children developing polio. In Africa, in the last few years, we've seen declining rates of routine immunizations for measles and for other diseases other than polio. And as a result, the children become weak and they end up getting polio from the activated virus in vaccines that have been given to other children. These cases are now declining, but dealing with these so-called vaccine-derived cases has disappointed all of us, and of course has had a great impact on the children who have been impacted. Today, Rotary spends $150 million each year eradicating polio from your donations. And we hope to continue to obtain support from Rotarians, and we're very pleased that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation continues to match those donations on a 2-to-1 basis. So far, Rotarians individually, Rotary clubs, Rotary districts, and Rotary Foundation committees, through utilizing something called district designated funds in the World Fund Match, have resulted in Rotarians giving over $1.1 billion to polio eradication. That's pretty amazing. And the Gates Foundation, with the current match, has also given Rotary for polio eradication over $1 billion. So $2 billion have gone to polio. As I mentioned earlier, we are making progress in Pakistan, but we do worry about the political instability there. The new interim prime minister is a strong proponent of polio eradication and has met with Rotarians many times, indicating his support. The de facto government in Afghanistan is also working with Rotary, the Taliban, and with our partners, and more children are accessible to polio vaccinations than at any time in the last decade. We were surprised to see the polio case in Malawi, but the government, our partners there, and Rotarians have quickly responded, and surveillance of the disease has picked up, and immunization drives are now ongoing. I also need to note that we have concerns with Ukraine, as we had 2 vaccine-derived cases there in 2021. With so many refugees, Europe is now stepping up its focus on vaccinations. So we are closer than ever to ending polio. Rotarians can be proud of all that you have given, and the work of Rotarians in so many countries to support their local health authorities as well in ending this disease. Sorry about that. So as I close my remarks this evening, I wish to return to the point I made at the beginning of my address. Rotary is all about choice. We choose to eradicate polio, and we choose the degree to which to be engaged in Rotary, and on whether or not we choose to be engaged or not to be engaged. We choose our club projects and programs. We choose who to invite into our Rotary clubs. all of the choices we make in Rotary and through Rotary are in the end about not giving us choices, but about giving other people choices. Giving choices to human beings is giving the world a better planet with more prosperity in good health. So in closing, I wish to thank you all for choosing Rotary. And I thank you all for, as Shekhar Mehta says, serving to change lives. Thank you very much.
감사합니다. 쉐이커 메타 회장의 메시지를 전달해 주시고 감동적인 인사 말씀해 주신 맥거번 RI 회장들에게 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.